Yeah,
yeah, actually, right. But you still got it.
there's like
Broadcast
three.
live.
Hey,
Okay.
not here.
Yeah.
Here, put this over there, Jack.
Tell her broadcast is live.
Oh, it
It's
is?
live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Dang. All right. So I can only see like a part of me. All right. Y'all got to excuse me. So, anyway, yes, this is Conscious Community Connections, 104.5 FM. Views expressed are those of the speakers and are not intended to represent WRFU, UC, IMC, or Abandoned Socialist Forum. And that's all. I will probably stop my cam, but I will come back and say it again.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Heather. That is always the ace. So we're gonna have a discussion today, Alicia, myself, and we're gonna be talking about again. This is a multi series talking about racism. So what we want to cover today is what we covered last week. Alicia, remind me what we covered last week. I can't hear you, Alicia. You're on mute.
Oops.
There you go.
So a couple weeks ago, we covered racism, how it affected our society, and then how it affected our behavior, and we went over the four stages of change. Um, can I before you go on, Tiger? I want to say something. I forgot to
Go
explain
ahead.
this last. I forgot to explain this the last time that the change model that I used actually wasn't an exact model; it was a variation of a model. So just in case somebody
Mhm.
wanted to look up the real model, they could see like where I made a variation at. And the only reason why I did that, I just thought it was appropriate to do that given the content of the discussion and for time. So I just wanted everybody to know that because I figured it was necessary to note. But yeah, that's what we covered.
Okay, cool. So this week we're gonna be talking about structural racism, right? Just do a thumbs up. I see you got your mouse off, but and we're gonna have a discussion on that. So what it is and why we think this is important. Because I think what we feel and we know that this subject is kind of a broad subject that's very huge, and our brains kind of get broken when we try to imagine something on this scale. So it need to be broken down because I think, not only are we victims of it, but those who perpetuate it or who are enforcing it, they don't understand that it's a saying. I can't move up on the ladder because your foot is on my head. But that means neither one of us is moving up the ladder. So we stand in this stuck position, which only leads to more second class citizenship, or actually third or fourth class, according to Dr. Claude Anderson. It's worse than that. Because as you see now, they're able to shoot you down in the street and still get away with it. Yeah, you get some protests, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be having another one of these cases very soon. And then, then what? We start this whole cycle again. But we need to look at this for what it is and understand exactly what it is. Because it was Neely Fuller who said that it's designed to only confuse you. You think you understand what you know, but it's really only designed to confuse. So, with that being said, structural racism, the definition is a system in which public policies, institutional practices, cultural representation, and other norms work in various, often reinforcing ways to perpetuate racial group inequity. Again, it's a system in which public policies, institutional practices, cultural representations, and other norms work in various often reinforcing ways to perpetuate racial group inequity. It identifies dimensions of our history and culture that have allowed privileges associated with whiteness and disadvantages associated with color or blackness to endure and adapt over time. Structural racism is not something that a few people or institutions choose to practice. No one, they might not choose to practice this. Instead, it has been a feature of the social, economic, and political system in which we all exist. So you don't even know it's there. It's like it's similar to like a fish in water. He don't even know the water is there, right? All he just know it's there. So that's the basis of it right there. Now, there's a similar thing, institutional racism, structural racism, institutional racism. There is a difference. Institutional racism refers to policies and practices within and across institutions that intentionally or not produce outcomes that chronically favor or put a racial group at a disadvantage. That's kind of confusing. Example of institutional racism can be found in school disciplinary policies, in which students of color are punished at a much higher rate that their white counterparts are. In the criminal justice system and within many employment sectors in which day-to-day operations as well as hiring and firing practices can significantly disadvantage workers of color. So that's institutional racism. These two are very similar, very similar. One is talking about structure and system. The other one is talking about with any structures and systems, the policies, then the practices that are allowed to go on inside of it. Now, what's a good example of structural racism and its effects? We could look at the wealth gap right now. The wealth gap that we see in America is very great. And it's only getting larger, or the wealth gap is growing even further. So these are direct. This is a direct action or inaction from structural racism. Policies which block, say, African Americans from getting decent homes in certain areas. These policies were drew up. The suburbs were created this way. A lot of people don't know that, but it's a very good book, The Color Law. You should read it. Rothstein, he even state how these policies work, how a lot of African Americans were not allowed to buy in certain areas that were considered all white, and how when an area did turn all white or was all white, they would do what's called a blockbuster. And I had an uncle and auntie who did this. This happened when they first came to areas in Chicago, and you had white flight. The moment one of the black families came on the block, that was it. All you seen was signs going up for sale all over the place. So uh, that's how that now. Now a lot of them probably had black friends at the time, but when it came down to their housing and them losing wealth in that house, and I seen this for myself as a child coming up, and it was over there toward the 79th Street area. All you seen all up and down the block was for sale, right? So this is how structural racism works. It's something that subconsciously works, consciously and subconsciously, according to Dr. Frances Cress Wilson. She really talked about this, and she talked about the 8 areas of human interaction where structural racism persists. So the 8 areas are, and I wrote them down because I was listening to her early. I love listening to her and Malcolm X. Man, you got to listen to them. But so the 8 areas of human interaction are laws, religion, uh, entertainment, labor, education, politics, sex, and war. Again, I'm going to read them again. Laws, religion, politics, entertainment, labor, education, sex, and war. Even in sex, that's some racism, man. That's crazy. But Again, if you don't understand these things, they'll confuse you. They design to confuse you so you don't know it's happening. And then you hear a lot of people say, why don't they just pull themselves up out of boot? Or why they asking for this and all that? No, it's not that, man. If you never had a boot, if you never even had a shoe or a sock, how you gonna pull yourself up and you ain't got no sock on, man? You ain't even got a sock or a piece of thread between your toes when you pull yourself up. So, Alicia, you welcome to join in and feed your opinion on this. I just want to lay that out, what it is, these 8 areas, how these 8 areas affect us. If you want to, I want you to go into more of that wealth gap. If you got the slide with you, if you could see it and kind of break that down.
Oh, well, before we go into that more
Uh,
about it, if I could just talk about some of the stuff that you said, because just to break it down a little bit more for everybody to understand, that because structural racism is right, it's so hard to like grasp because it's like all around us. It's our part of our culture, And you talked about like it's even you know influences our entertainment and stuff like that. Well, that's because our entertainment is mainstream. What's mainstream? White America.
yeah,
We have to have it. That's what it is. Like, I mean, think about it. Hip hop and rap didn't become mainstream until white people put their stamp of approval on it.
right.
You know,
That's true. That's true.
that's how it is. And as far as like, and you're talking about how it even affects sex. Well, it does because it affects our our beauty norms. What's normalized as beautiful. The finer features you have, the lighter skin you have, the finer hair that you have, you're considered beautiful. The only reason why the hair industry and the makeup industry even started to care about black hair and people with darker pigment of skin is because they realized that that was a whole sector of revenue that they were missing. That's the only reason why
Mm,
you know, they don't care about that. They were just like, that's money over there. That's a population of people that we're not even getting to.
right.
So that's the reason why they even started all that. So, I mean, that's just something to think about. When you're talking about racism being structured, you have to look at it, the three tiers of it: history, culture, and the institution and policies, right? And, like we can continue to talk about culture, like all our whole culture is our holidays. Our holidays, the big holidays in this country, are all connected to the Western religions, Western European Christianity, Catholicism. I mean, look at Thanksgiving. This is
Yeah,
when we sit at a table and we glorify uh, how our forefathers, our Anglo-Saxon forefathers, came over here and put in pretty much it was like genocide of a whole civilization of people, and we're sitting down and we're eating dinner and we're celebrating that. That's what Thanksgiving is, right? I mean,
oh yeah, yeah.
St. Patrick's
Christopher
Day.
Columbus.
Christopher Columbus. I mean, well, Christopher Columbus came over here. Okay, so here, when you talk about structural racism, it is all about our history, our institutions, our culture upholding ideology of white supremacy.
Right.
And because white supremacy is completely embedded into the foundation of this country and in our existence. And Christopher Columbus, he was a European man that came over here and said that the race of people that were here were savages. That
Right.
how they were living their life wasn't good. It wasn't adequate. His way of life was better. He was more
Yeah.
superior. He had a superior way of living. That's white that's white supremacy right there. I am more supreme. My way of living is more supreme than you, and you're a savage. Okay? I mean, and we ran with that, because we're brainwashed into thinking that, this is, this Western thought of being is correct. We're so brainwashed with it that for centuries we called Native Americans Indians because Christopher Columbus thought he was in India. He didn't even know what he was doing. He didn't even know where he was at. He thought he was in India, and because this European man said this is who they are, then we just kept on believing that for the longest, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, like I said last time, how our forefathers used religion and science to rationalize why it was okay to enslave people. That's white supremacy. That's structural racism. That's what our country is based off of. You know, um,
Right.
and that's our history. That's our history. You know, so I mean,
Yeah. Man.
we can talk about, I mean, you can't talk about structural racism without like getting into the history of it. you know um we can talk about how, like the Jim Crow laws and the black codes. Well, black codes only came about when the 13th Amendment was eradicated. And now the
Right.
13th says now that we can't have people in slavery, and you can't force people into like um involuntary indenture or servitude. So they put the black codes in place. This is structural racism. It is about, it's about the structure of our country. So when we talk about the structure of our country, we talk about policy, we're talking about laws, we talk about government. Our government put in the black codes. Our government
Oh yeah.
enforced Jim Crow laws. Jim Crow laws was going on for 100 years. They didn't stop until 1968. That was like a little over 50 years ago. Don't tell me there isn't
Yeah.
residue still going on, because that affects
Mm.
the judicial system. Because,
Right.
yeah, it affected our judicials because who enforced and implemented the Jim Crow laws, and well, that was, the KKK did that. And the KKK is full of people. They influence the micro, meso, and macro levels of society. They have people that are at highest level of policy, and then they got people that are the lowest level of, crime and whatever, right?
Right. Right.
Big range of people. That means that they're
Mm-hmm.
controlling a lot of stuff. They're influencing a lot of stuff. So,
Right.
the KKK was putting that in place, and so even though the Jim Crow laws are no longer in existence, the KKK.
Mm-hmm.
So that just gives you a little more understanding of like, we don't have Jim Crow laws anymore, but however, they're almost in a way kind of being still implemented because we still have this organization called the Ku Klux Klan that's influencing our society. You know?
Man, it's even deeper than that. You got over 200 different groups um out here now who are now pretty much in everything, have infiltrated everything. We talk about the KKK, but you got the Knights of Malta. You got all type of groups out there, man, who are these are think tanks. You got over 200 different think tanks, and it's pretty much everything they do. They are really kind of this group who control. They like behind the scene and influence, these different things, but we don't really see these things. And you get a large group, I say, Caucasian people, and they don't see these things, so they kind of fall into the trap, or they fall into the mindset too. I was checking out what you said, these laws and policies. So I was watching some Malcolm X today before this thing, and he said something in the interview that was very interesting. He said that because they asked him, they said, "What do you think of King with these marches and everything? What do you think of these? How do you feel about this and us trying to get equal rights?" He said basically that that's a foolish thing to think that you could get. He said that if you were become, he said, why would they create a whole nother set of laws for you if they was just gonna make you a citizen? All they had to do is just make you a citizen. Why you gotta have a whole nother set of laws and amendments? Which means that you actually not, now this is Malcolm X saying this, but he got me thinking, and it got, I think I gotta say, I agree with him on that. Why do you gotta create a whole nother set of laws and policies to make me a, whereas at first I was 3/5 of a man or something, but now you have to draw these other ones in order to amend this and to do that. Why not just say, okay, he's a citizen, all the laws stand? So what Malcolm X was saying that, it's foolish to think that um, that they're gonna make you, that you're gonna be welcome into this society. Because if that was the case, then the ones who are protesting wouldn't be arrested. Instead, it'd be the ones who were fighting against the protests. Those were the ones who need to be arrested or stopped. But the ones who were protesting for citizenship were the ones who went to jail. The dogs got sick on them because they were not ones who wanted, who they the society did not want them to become part of that citizenship, which is something we got. These are things that's still today. Now I heard several things like a couple of stars saying that racism don't exist and all that. Like when Obama got elected, we're in a post-racial society. Well, as we can see, that's a lie, right? So it don't go anywhere. It just transforms. It just transforms, reconstitute, go into other policies, loans, different things where you can't access certain capital. And in that book, Color of Law, even discuss how these areas, like all black areas in Chicago, all white, very segregated areas, were purposely done that way. This was no accident. They were purposely managed to be that way through policies, lending policies, and economics, and government policies, and other things that block you. So no, these are no accident. And you're right. I agree with everything you just said, man. And then when we look at entertainment, I heard another one of these entertainers say, nah, what else? Lil Wayne and the other one talking, nah, man, nah. But you don't see anyone controlling the record labels. I think Master P, he tried to do that. That was it. Bill Cosby was the last one who tried to buy a whole station. You still not in control just because you a high paid, hey, they was complaining about these guys taking the knee, even at the NFL. What do you call them? SOBs, the 45. They can't even take a knee. So you ain't nothing but a high. To me, it's just that's still slavery. It's just, yeah, you just a well paid, well dressed slave. You still in there, and you can say what you want to say, but hey, it is what it is, right?
No, I agree. I completely agree. I mean, you're right about, the redlining.
Yeah.
You know, all that is just a modern version of the black codes. That's what the black codes did. They told you where you were living. They told you what jobs you could have, how you were going to be compensated. They told you whether or not you could vote. I mean, that's the black code. So
Mm.
when that happened, when stuff, what I'm saying, this stuff didn't go away.
No, I didn't.
It's still here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still here. Because it's a part of our structure. It's a part of our country. It's the way that we were structured. So yeah, we would have to make brand new laws to say that, certain people are citizens, because we'd have to do away with the laws that said that they're not, you know?
Mm.
And we'd have to redo our whole country, you know? And why would anybody
And
do that when we have a group of people that are in government saying that no, we don't want that because we're benefiting too much from it,
right.
you know? and we do have more other organizations besides the KKK, that are
Oh,
that
yeah.
formed, and and that are making an influence, and listen, the fact that it's called an organization is mind-blowing, because organizations have stakeholders. Organizations have people who are lobbying for them, who are supporting them, advocating for them, right? So if this is an
Yeah.
organization, obviously it's having a lot of support here. And I think that what we're kind of describing here is the overt subtlety of racism that shows up all the time in our institutions. It's
Mm,
You get what I'm saying? It's very,
yeah.
you want to get more like personal. This is the type of discrimination and prejudice that you see on in the job, in the workforce.
Right.
You know, it's
Right.
very subtle.
Right. I agree, man. I got a friend. She's a chemist, and she has the hardest time. And it's not that many. Like they trying to push us in the STEM. It's not
Mm-hmm.
that many black chemists out there, and they get stuck. In order to move up in certain fields, you have to have a job has to allow you to move into that position to gain experience. They can't get it. See, we don't own those. We don't own any of those labs. Now, if we started owning labs, then you could start. You could do that. But this again is part of their structure. Because there aren't that many black labs. I know about two of them now. I've just been doing research on that, but it's very few of them. So, and I asked her. I say, "Are you glad you went into that?" Everybody's saying, go into science. She's really depressed from that
Wow.
because she feel like she can't move up, and she could do a better job. But she has actually seen this. This has actually worked against her because someone with a lower education will come in and tell her what to do because one, they either know the person who owned this or they are family member, nepotism, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and get paid more than her. And here she has two masters. A lot of us went to school and got these degrees, masters and doctors, but you don't have no business to bring them out to. So you taking your paper and again you trying to sell yourself off. Hey, look what I got. And
Mm-hmm.
now you got to get in, but it's different. It's different, I say, for a lot of like the white or Caucasian. They go to school and get this, but they'll take that job, they'll take that paper to their family business, and they go work for them. Now they growing that. You know, this is totally it's a different way. We come out looking for jobs, but they come out already to make companies already better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
So you win.
that yeah, that when you talk about the wealth gap, that's exactly what that is. You know, disproportionately through history, African Americans have had less wealth than white Americans. So that's pretty much what it is. The reason why that is because we've had so many policies put in place, structure put in place to thwart black prosperity. It's been going on this whole time. That's why the whole concept of the glass ceiling exists. You know,
Right, right.
so it stops black prosperity, and so let me read some of these points that you put down here. That you were saying that the enormity of the wealth gap between black families and white families. Um,
Mhm.
Saying on average, the average wealth has increased over the past 50 years, but it has not grown equally for all groups. So between 1963 and 2016. And you were saying that most of the families in the 10th percentile went from having no wealth on an average to about being $1,000 in debt, and those in the middle had more than double their wealth, and the families near the top, the 90th percentile, increased their wealth fivefold, and the wealth of the 99th percentile increased their wealth by sevenfold. So that's really something to think about when you're talking about like the wealth gap here. And when I'm reading this, I'm thinking automatically the 99th percentile, that's people that are 99%. So that's like a very small percent of people
Mm-hmm.
are the wealthiest. And I'm pretty sure most of them are white. And I'm pretty sure the people that are like near the lower level, you know, are people of color. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's like I look at this and I'm like, yeah, okay, I already know more white people. They're talking about the richer people are white and the poor people are people of color. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that everybody could agree with that too. I mean, I don't.
Yeah. It goes back to this education. So you and I, and I'm not going to just target you and I, but most individuals do not have no one in their family who own a business, or 'cause in order to get that type of wealth, you would have to own that business, not be a worker. I come from a blue collar family, workers, and you got a lot of whites out there who are field workers and come from those families too. But again, they the majority, we the minority. It's only 15% of us, or 13% of us in this country, whereas they are the majority. So the numbers is unequal, but you don't have that many of us to show the next one, hey, this how you do this how you set this up, this how you grow this type of wealth. Because to grow that type of wealth, you would have to be an owner. You can't come in there being a worker. A worker is not going to build up that much cash unless he or she is working, let's say, a job. But still, you see a lot of individuals who do have a nice paycheck, but they still living check to check because one, first thing they do is earning that type of money. They try to go out into an area uh, and move out of what you say an all black area and find themselves a white area, right? So now that area is robbed of its resource. There's a what they call a brain drain in the hood. Because once you get a degree and stuff like that, you don't want to stay there because you might get shot. You thinking in these poor areas, crime is higher, which is only natural because it's a lack of resources. That's really what's going on. And now I'm not saying all poor areas like that. I'm just saying one of them are because the stress level is high. So um, these are low hanging fruit. But this plays all part of that. All that is part of that whole structural thing, like you said. And the education is poor. So the education, the training is poor. This individual has a harder time of moving up. That don't even let them drop out of school because you know they can't make it to the school or gang trouble and all that. Like in Chicago, I had to cross about 5 different gang territories just to go to school. Who want to go through that all day, right? Or you trying to figure out a way to get home. That's too much. So these are issues and problems that sort of make more issues and problems, and it's causing this cycle. It causes a downward spiral. That's why that wealth gap is doing it. Because in that wealth gap, it said the upper, what was it? The middle class made how much difference? What was that?
It said that the middle doubled their wealth. So
Okay.
saying that they made like five-fold more or whatever, and then the upper was making sevenfold more.
Right.
Hey, so it's
Oh,
disclaimer time. I'm just popping in. I'm still listening to you guys. So this is WRFU 104.5. And this is Conscious Community Connections, where we keep the community connected. We are just doing a discussion right now, and we're finishing up our racism discussion. And I just want to let you guys know that the views are of the speakers, okay? They're not intended to represent WRFU, UC, IMC, or Abandoned Socialist Forum. All right, I'll be back.
what is this
You're doing
popping out?
great.
I'll be back.
And TYgar, be quiet.
What is this? I'm not getting it, but okay.
Keep on talking. I don't know why she told you to be quiet. Keep on talking.
She said she popping in and popping out. You either in or you out.
Agreed.
This is West Side. Yeah.
But you
I'm
were
gonna
talking.
leave it alone.
I oh.
It's like a pop up or something, man. It's like a Pop Tart. We're gonna call up Pop Tart Heather.
A whack-a-mole. She's like the
Yeah,
whack-a-mole.
whack a mole or something. Yeah, we're gonna whack a mole and gonna hit on the head. But I don't know, man. I'm just popping in. I'm gonna pop in. What the heck are you doing? But look, now we just gotta look at it like that, man, because what we were saying, talking about the whole entertainment thing or just understanding is how these things all play a part. Because you see that wealth gap right there, how that wealth gap works is just off that. The more you involve the well the less access to resource skills and these things you have, then the more likely you're gonna do low hanging fruit stuff, like try to sell drugs or do something. Try to perpetuate these things. And I blame a lot of this on these movies. But who's pushing these movies? You always see these movies, these guys like get rich or die trying, or they trying to hustle and stuff like that. Why they don't make no movie of no guy trying to figure out how the stock market work or something? Why they always pushing that garbage up? That's that whole thing. They pushing some type of, oh man, this is the only way you could do it. See, these things sink in your head. I don't like watching them type of movies anymore. I don't like them, man, because one, they perpetuating a myth. All you gonna do is have a bunch of guys go out there try to do this dumb stuff and get their ass shot, or either wind up going to jail on some stupid stuff, which perpetuate this cycle of poverty. Because going to jail, if they're giving them 10 to 12 years, they need to be out here earning. Now that's 10 to 12 years. This man is not bringing no income in to his family. Let's say he just bringing in a minimum income of $30,000, right? So that's 10 years gone right there. That's 10 years out of his life gone. That's $300,000 he could be making, to his family. Now the family gets nothing, you know. So we got to look at how all these things connected. They are all interconnected. Now if he got kids, what happened to the kids? Well, they going on welfare, right? They going on stamps. And they going through this cycle. How do you break this cycle? So it's keeping you in this state, this constant state of being, like I say, a second or third class citizen or fourth class citizen now, according to Dr. Anderson. Because you're going even lower than that.
So that's what I'm saying. Like we have these institutions and policies that uphold that keep this stuff implemented, the white supremacy implemented into the structure of our society. That's what I'm saying. Like how can we stop this? Well, look, I mean, you're I mean everything that you're saying is like, okay, well, how do we fix the education, you know, system then? How do we fix that? How do we make it to where it's not going off of property? The schools aren't going off of property taxes, so that we can pay the teachers in the lower income neighborhoods more money, so that can attract better teachers into those communities, so that we can give those uh, students in lower income communities adequate learning tools, better books, new desks, you know, computers, things like that, you know, because, but I mean, I'm saying, like, how can we unravel that? Because this is all built from a foundation that's all about white supremacy. And when we redline our communities and say, um, when we redline our communities, why are you on here twice?
I don't know. I don't know what
What
happened.
happened?
I got kicked
There you
out
go.
of one end. Yeah, I got kicked out of one end. The magic of this screen just pulled me in on another end. So go ahead, though. I'm
Oh,
listening.
okay. All right. Well, when you redline our communities, you know, and we put, like, you know, and we make sure that African American people can't accumulate wealth, and then we, you know, redline the communities that they're in, and then we take and then we make it to where our school system is only getting money off of property taxes within those neighborhoods. So now, you know, automatically children of color, predominantly African American children, aren't going to get adequate education, aren't going to get the appropriate educational supports. And,
Oh,
you know, you see what I'm saying?
oh, you dead on it. I'm gonna give you a prime example of what you just saying. In Chicago, in Cook County, Hazel Crest, Markham, Harvey, um, who else? Blue Island and Tinley Park, right? So Tinley Park is the white school. Hazel Crest, Markham, Harvey, all those other schools are black schools. They don't have the same programs that Tinley Park had. But guess where all the money comes from? Those five areas. But the school in the white area has more programs. And I found this out when I was trying to get my younger son in school up there in Hazel Crest. They were saying, well, we only got one language, or we only got one or two shops. Now they were saying, now if you was over here in this area, Tinley Park, oh, they got five different languages. Oh, they teaching all type of other stuff.
I'm at work. Can't put me
So,
on here.
hey, who is that? Oh, but that is that's something that's perpetuated there. So all the money, even in Harvey, which is one of the the poorest districts in Polson up there in that area, school systems are you know all their money is directed to one school system, but that one school system makes sure that Tinley Park has this very good program, and all these other school systems they don't put the money over there. The books are old, the classes, and what I'm saying, anybody from that area, they know it's real. But and you got 4 or 5 areas right here with one area. But if you don't understand how that works, you don't get it. So now, and I said I asked my when I was there, hey, how is that allowed? How is that allowed to even do that? How do you allow to get away with that, right? So it comes down to somebody told, well, up there said, well, you got more renters in this area versus how homeowners, and the homeowners are directing it. Here's something else that just happened up there in that same south suburbs in Chicago area. You know, they want to bus everybody from um, out south way over there by Harlem Avenue. You know, so because they got a newer school built in this area over here versus these schools. Take it all out of there. So it's still going on today. Now, if you take the school system, if the school system in that area is not good or up to par, that also has indication on home value. People buy their homes on how well the school system is. See, And if you got a weak school system in that area, the values are lower. So all them black people own like houses up there, like in those areas, and they took that school out of there. Guess what? You just lost value in their property too. You know, there's no getting out of this. This is a perpetual cycle. They still playing the game. Here it is, 2020. You done had a black president. You still in the same position. And it almost who was that? It was I was listening to Malcolm X again, and he was saying it was one of King's. It was Willie. What's the guy? Willie. I can't think of it, but he said, half freedom or half freedom is even more of a ball and chain than actually no freedom. It's perpetuated as you free, but you're not. You really not. They still playing the same
Hey,
game.
TYgar.
Yeah.
But let me remember. He also said the reason why we're in the problem now because we not labeled as civilians. That's why they gotta have civil rights laws. If you was a civilian, you wouldn't need civil rights. So why do you gotta have
Malcolm
civil
X,
rights if you're an American citizen?
he just
I'll
said
let you
that
finish
in
though.
that whole speech. Malcolm X just said that in that whole speech.
Yeah, no, I just saw
If
the
they
video. I just
if
got done doing that.
man, if they gonna make you, if they gonna, why you gotta have a whole nother set of laws? All you just gotta do is say, hey, all right, they gonna be citizens. Why you gotta draft up a whole new set of laws? That's what Key's saying, right, Key?
But yeah, but at the same time, you gotta realize in the United States Constitution, we are labeled 3/5 of a man. We're not even a half of a man. 3/5 of a man is like a no man at all. So you gotta look at all the things that go into play.
What's that, Scott? What's the name of that case? What's that case? Dred
Dred Scott
Scott?
case.
Dred Scott.
Dred
Yeah,
Scott, he lost that case.
he did. But then he ended up getting freed anyway, like his honor of freedom anyway, a couple months later. But the fact that he was
I can't
fighting
hear my
for it,
phone. I don't know what's
and
wrong.
there
My
was no reason why he
Bluetooth
shouldn't
ain't
win.
working, man.
And that's the thing. We had all these policies and all these like laws up in here, but here we got this one judge that decided to look at the Constitution and perceive it a certain way, and made a decision and said that he didn't deserve to be free. You know, and that's just it's just like remarkable about how it's how this is so all of this is created and it's still going on. And like you said, TYgar, like people still want to, people will say to you, well, pull yourself up with that by your bootstraps. How can you do that when you don't have a boot? And people don't believe you when you say we didn't have no boot. Well, this is why. This is why. Because our whole country, the history of our whole country said, figure out how to live without a boot. We're gonna come in and we're gonna stop everything you try to do. We're gonna burn down Black Wall Street. You get up there, you try to fight for your freedom. Nah, not that. We're gonna make sure we got the judicial system is full of Confederate veterans, so that when you get arrested, the judge was a Confederate veteran. The police officers were a Confederate veteran. So when you get arrested, we're going to make sure that your cases, you can't win your cases. We're going to make sure you're subjected to the black codes. And this was going on for 100 years. You know, this was going on for 100 years. It only ended 50 years ago or so. That's what I'm saying. There's residue in it still. The residue is still around. It's still happening. You know.
Well, you talking about them. You could talk about the three strike laws right now, because the three strike laws are still implemented, to a degree. And these guys are getting time. When they started that in the in the late '80s, early '90s, these guys are
88.
getting time. Yeah, we're just talking about like past 30, 20 something years, and they giving them time just from getting past crime. You got guys getting locked up right now in cases called like a habitual criminal and getting gang of time. And again, it's playing that perpetual game. Everything is tied to economics here. Hey, Key, put yourself on mute, man. We hear you. Put your yeah, but everything is tied to economics here. Everything is tied to that. There's no getting out of economics. Economics, this thing is based off economics. We were the engine that built this place, and it was all based on economics.
Well, yeah.
So
I
if we
mean,
don't
About
get,
money.
yeah. Well,
go ahead.
black people were enslaved because we were a wonderful product. That's the reason why people were upset that slavery ended. We made this country rich. It was always about money. That's how it was all about.
Yes, they said it best. What the Civil War general said. He said, why would we give away a $1 billion product if we don't got to do nothing but let them work?" That general, what's his name? One of the Civil War generals said that, and it make a whole lot of sense. See, a lot of people don't understand.
Who is it? Was that Robert E. Lee that said
One
that?
of them, I can't.
No.
Don't give me. I know one of them said. I got to go back to my notes. I got some notes from that. I did research on that too. But a lot of people don't understand the reason why that Civil War was fought. It wasn't fought to free the slaves. It was fought to keep the slaves and keep that $1 billion industry they had going on. Because they was making $3 billion a year off cotton alone, and they
I
wasn't
mean,
doing no work. They
I
had
don't
you had
think,
they had to pay nobody no checks. They had vacation days, no sick days. You got to look at that industry they had going on, man.
and I don't
Then
think people recognize how big and lavish those plantations were. I mean, they were making a lot of money, and they had slaves picking pounds of cotton. Like, it's like, what is like one cotton ball? What does it weigh? Like, it's like trying to weigh like a square of toilet paper. What is that? You know what I'm saying? And you had pounds of it. That's a
Hey, they had bales of it, man. So
that's a lot.
it made them so powerful. It made the South so powerful that these were some of the most powerful men in the world. They became a threat off that engine, just that engine off that. And a lot of people don't understand. They when you go into they talk about the Boston Tea Party and all that, and taxation without representation. Well, they started taxing America at that time because they had ended slavery over there. And they said, well, how you going to sell these goods over here and you didn't pay any money to do that? We're going to have to tax you because you will hurt our industry. And that's what kicked that off. See, it's all about economics around. Don't let them fool you. This is about economics. And keeping you in this position is keeping this country economically strong because you always got this cheap labor. But now you got globalization. So globalization is going around looking for other places to exploit. Like in China, these other places
Mm-hmm.
where communist country, where they could get this real cheap labor. So again, this is about economics here, man. We got to understand how economics play this role in driving this machine and keeping this 1% at the top. Now they allow a middle class, but they're going to control who's in that middle class, who gets these good jobs. Just like
Mm-hmm.
that guy, yeah, just like that guy, like Snowden. He went over there and spilled the beans. This guy didn't have no degree in nothing like that. He just knew people that was there because he was white, and he got a high school diploma and got a job making 6 figures. Whereas me and you, man, we got to go into debt. We got to go get a master's. You got to go get a PhD just to get the same job that they give this guy because that's his nephew or somebody he knows. You could never win on a game like this.
Right.
It's a merry-go-round, and it's gonna always play this game. It's gonna come back to economics, and
Mm-hmm.
then long as you giving these guys like that, like doing 10, 20 years, then you let them out, and then you talking about, well, he a good guy. He shouldn't go back. You just took 20 something, 10, 20 years out of his life where he wasn't earning no money. Now you got to play catch up. How is he gonna retire in the next 20 years? He can't.
Right.
You know, and his family can't because you just robbed that whole family of, let's say, like again, 10 years. That's at an average of $30,000. That's $300,000 you just robbed that family of that type of income or wealth to build up in their family. And now all them starting all over again. It's a start over process. It's a continuation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a downward spiral.
Yeah.
And anybody who said he haven't been touched by this who's black or say things like, well, it don't exist no more. I even watched a guy on YouTube talking about, well, they let us marry your daughter or marry their daughters. That's individual racism. Structural racism is very well and alive in
Mm-hmm.
today's. It ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're right about that. Like that does trip me out when I hear people of color, and specifically when I hear black people say, um, like talk as if the racism was in the past. You know, like
Yeah, just because they let you marry
because
their
I've never
daughter or you could
experienced.
date.
I've actually heard black people say, "I've never experienced that. I've never experienced." So I don't know. I'm looking at them
Yeah,
like, "Yes, you have."
you just don't get it. You don't. That's and again, it's designed to confuse you. They haven't. They probably haven't came face to face with an individual. You know
Mm-hmm.
that Archie Bunker character. No, they probably haven't had that. But if they in that place there, or there are limits put there. Now you might get one or two out there in an all white suburb or something. It's never nothing 100%. It's not
Mm-hmm.
100%. Nothing is 100% here. It's in a percentile like 80% or something like that. You'll get 20 or 10% that'll make it out, and these like your gatekeepers. But to have a number at 80%, that's too high. That lets you know then something's wrong. How come it can't be 80% success?
And I think that's kind of even strategic too, where
That
we
is.
only have a certain amount of people of color that make accumulate that like wealth. Like I don't know how many billionaires or millionaires that are actually black. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's not that many, but I mean that I feel like that's strategic. I think it's we look, people say, well, we had Barack Obama, he was our president, so clearly we must be. I'm sorry if you guys hear that in the background. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on outside, but um, they say that because we had Barack Obama as a president, so that clearly we everything must be okay here because we had one black president.
Man.
How many presidents have
Yeah.
we had? And we only had one. One.
Yeah. One.
That's
Well, they
not
had.
that's not okay. Like things haven't gotten better. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like we just had one. Just like I mean, I could. That's not equal. That's not
No.
equal. It's not okay if it's not equal. We haven't had we. That it's it's amazing how people take these little crumbs that are thrown and say, oh well, it's cool. Because we got
Yeah.
thrown this crumb. Like no.
Now I'm gonna make a statement. I tell you right now, if it was an equal footing, if it was an equal playing field as a team, because this racism is a just with that word race, it means to compete. Like race means you competing against something else, right? And we played as a team, no one could beat us if we played as a team. But a lot of us don't. A lot of us like to do this inclusion thing and this other stuff of what's Terry Crews talking about? He don't believe in that because all lives matter and all that stuff. Man, you sound silly. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about right now. You got a whole group that's being subjugated. You shouldn't even. Then I think he said something on the fact of uh, talking about that's only going to create black supremacy. No, you're not gonna get there. No, that's insane. You're not gonna get there. You know.
Oh, so
Oh
y'all
no, here
said
comes
Tiger. hold on. So y'all let TYgar go ahead and keep talking, and Alicia, and then I think I heard Kee-Kee pop in, but you ain't say nothing to him. See, that's what
Shut
I'm
up,
talking
man.
about. Anyway, that I gotta make sure that the disclaimer is read. Okay. This is WRFU 104.5 FM, Urbana Champaign. Views expressed are those of the speakers and are not intended to represent WRFU, UC, IMC, or Urbana Socialist Forum. Thank you so much, TYgar. And Alicia.
What was that, man?
She was like, thanks so much, TYgar. And Alicia.
Man. You know what? I want that hammer. You know that hammer when they hit the moles?
It's a whack-a-mole.
Yeah, I want that hammer now. I really
Pop in
want
here
that
one more
hammer.
time, Heather, with your big forehead in the camera. Let's see what
Yeah,
happens.
right there. Yeah. And look, she got that little hole right there too. See that little hole right there? Look at the picture in the middle. It's that little hole. Look, right there, that hole. I'm waiting on her to pop up. Look, I got a fix. I'm gonna hit her with this pencil. Yeah, teach her. A lesson. Nah, man,
She's
but
funny.
I think that's it, man. I just it's kind of frustrating, but I say this: we're gonna have to switch our game plan. I don't see that going away anytime soon. Why would it go away anytime soon? Uh, Freedom is not free. If you understand that, freedom is not free. It comes at a cost. So if you're looking for somebody to get it to you, it ain't gonna happen. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying that it's gonna cost us restructuring and rethinking this thing on what it is and how to deal with it, right? Because why would you asking? Like I was checking out the 4 stages of healing from this, but you really asking somebody to take the silver spoon out their mouth, in a sense. Take that golden spoon out your mouth, give it to me. I want a piece of that. They're not gonna do it, man. They got, they got the golden spoon, so that means it's gonna take some restructuring on our end and rethinking this thing through, uh, in order to work this. I was checking out some on game theory, and I'm gonna switch this up in order for us, because we need to figure out a solution for this. That's what I'm thinking. I like to have a solution or a possible solution. So game theory, I've been reading a lot of that, but I've been checking out strong game theory versus strong man versus weak man. So I was listening to a speaker. He said, "How do you make a football team or a basketball team strong, right, or better? You hire or you recruit a top player like a Michael Jordan or somebody else, and that makes that team play. That makes that basketball team better, right? Right. Whereas soccer works in reverse. Soccer works on weak man theory. So with weak man theory, you find your weakest man and you train him so that the other players won't pick him out and make goals off him. We're gonna have to use weak man theory. See, we've been using strong man theory all this time. That's where they came up with the talented 10th and these guys they join these sororities and stuff like that. You expect them to step ahead and then do for you, but yet you in the same position, but they not making no move for you like that. Or to a degree, they'll do a little bit, but they be more like gatekeepers. So that means then you're gonna have to switch your theory. That means your theory ain't working, your game theory ain't working. You got to switch from strong, focus on the strong man, and focus on the weak man and build him up. You know, we only strong as our weakest link. And a lot of us are the weakest link right now because one, we undereducated, we underskilled, we under resourced. So we got too many weak links. You know, that means you need more programs that teach skill building. You know, there's a shortage of roofers right now. There's a big shortage of roofers. A lot of these guys are getting old. Um, you know, we start putting together some black teams up there, black teams going up there to do the roof. And I mean, do a good job, do a better job than all of them, man. We got to do the top notch job. You know, what's that saying? You got to be 10 times better, 10 times faster.
Mm-hmm.
We focus on weak man theory versus strong man theory. I think we can get ourselves out this hole. I'm not trying to change no people. You know, it is what it is. These people that been this way over 400 something years. I ain't got time for that. I'm not trying to change you. I'm not trying to do that kumbaya stuff like, oh man, we can all get along. You don't like me, that's fine. I don't care. Do your thing. But, you know, you're gonna have to really get into help building up again the weakest link in order to stop this. That means programs got to go in that jail. Before them guys get out of jail, we need to be teaching them about economics, how to set up bank accounts, how to build credit. That knowledge is that knowledge is not prevalent in our area. Um, I done these programs before, and I have a lot of guys come in there in their 30s and never had a bank account, you know,
Mm.
or a credit card. How you gonna move forward in this type of society without no credit? That's impossible.
Right.
You know, and I done heard someone say like, I don't want that. I don't need that. No, man, you don't know how to use that. That's a tool. So
And
you've
unless
been
and unless you making a bunch of money and can pay for everything with cash, you need credit. You have to establish it. You know, because that's the way our economics is been since what was it? Was it Nixon or was it Reagan that did the whole credit card thing where it put in like with credit? You know, it's been like that forever. You have to do. You have to establish credit. Unless you buying everything in cash, and that's gonna take a
right.
while. That's gonna take a
Well, you
while to
need
save up
to.
money for a car, save up money for a house. You can
But
making you
I
need to be
agree.
making a really good
but
salary.
what I understand credit though, right? But what's wrong
Mhm.
owning your own money? Save your money. You do save up and buy your stuff. Invest your own money to have it to buy. Credit good, but only thing good credit gonna keep you in debt.
That's what Tiger was saying.
That's a wrong theory you got. See, I'm not
Yeah,
saying use credit up. That's because you're not taught how to use the credit right. You're only supposed to use 10% of your credit card. That's it. That's it. And you're not even supposed to 7% actually in order to keep it good. To keep it good don't mean go into debt. That's not what I'm saying. But that's some of that miseducation that we got, and the other group is using this. You know what the upper middle class are doing, or some of them are do. They would even establish business credit or establish credit before this young guy even get out of the high school.
mm-hmm.
You know, and teach him how to use that. Hey, this don't mean you just go buy and shop like you crazy. No, you only use 7 to 10% of this. You use your own money to set this up. But you able to go in there and bank and say, hey, I know how to set this up. I know how to manage this. Give me a loan now for 300,000 so I can start my own company. And that guy is always ahead of you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
see this. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of miseducation that's going around in our community, but we don't understand, and we not taught right how to use these things as tools, not as, oh man, you got the new rims or you got the newest thing. No, man, no, don't. Don't even use it on that frivolous thing. Don't waste your time.
What do you think? What do you think that's so um big with like the black culture, like materialistic things? Instead of
Because
accumulating wealth and saving money and working to build up credit and to not have debt, why are the materialistic things more showcased and more desired?
so you mean like name brand, buying name brand stuff and all that because it makes you feel good. You already feel bad, you in the projects, you feeling bad, man. You know, the new Jordans, it make you feel good. It make you feel like you somebody at a time. It gives you that
But honestly, honestly, on the street, only broke people spend money like that to
truth.
try to get themselves aside. Because when I was in the street, when I was doing what I was doing, I ain't buy as many new clothes and shoes. Like every, you know what I mean, every once in a while, I kept my kids jiggy. But only broke people, you can tell somebody broke, they you know what I mean, spend money
Yeah,
like
you
that
going too
in
far.
front.
I
Yeah,
agree.
Yeah.
I
if you got
agree.
money, you know what I mean. You ain't really got to do all that.
I
Take,
agree.
you know what I
Hey,
mean.
hey,
Take
Key.
Eminem for example. You don't wear all that. He wore a jumpsuit. They criticize him for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
Key.
Yeah.
What about that picture that everybody that you see them cats take when they got a bunch of money and they take that picture for their Facebook picture?
Oh
That's
God.
Oh, they just a front because
a
I hate to
sign
say
of a
it.
broke dude, man. That's
But
a
yeah,
sign a dude never had. You know, he don't know what to do with no money. For one, you shouldn't be holding no stack of money like that. Why ain't that money working for you? You know, you showing already you don't know what to do with no money, man.
and
But again, you
the
not.
stick up man right around the corner.
Yeah, he waiting on him, man.
Right.
I just think you take that picture with that money and they be smiling with it, man. That's a sign of a broke dude who ain't never had it, man. But yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta make money work for you. Money is a tool. Money is a resource. It should be put into something to come back and create more money. You shouldn't be able to have a stack like this in your hand. That means it ain't working for you, and you're not
Yep.
working for it. So, you kind of loud over there, man.
I know I'm still at work, man. I'm putting my mute.
All right, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, yeah, but it's just some things. Again, like I said, a lot of this stuff is perpetuated, but the cycle gonna have to be broken. So, man, I encourage everybody, man, look up a lot of that Malcolm X and things like that, and Amos Wilson, Dr. Claude
Yeah,
Anderson, Boyce
yeah, but
Watkins.
it's sad though,
Yeah,
man, because it's hard to break the cycle because you know what I mean. I look back 20, 30 years from now, like 20, 30 years ago, I was that person they was talking to. It takes something
right,
drastic to happen to you, you know what I mean, to actually change.
It
And
does
so,
take something drastic to change. It
so,
does take,
so how do
but
like our little guy, like our little guy, like our little guy, man. You read the newspaper today?
Hey,
yeah,
Kee-Kee! Look at Kee-Kee!
yeah.
Look at Kee-Kee!
You got a
oh my
joke?
It can
See,
pop
God.
up.
Hey,
we are
TYgar,
It can
please.
pop up. It can pop up
we in
at
the middle
me,
of a show,
man.
Heather.
No,
We in the middle of the show.
no, don't do that to me.
It
How
can
you
Don't.
pop
doing,
up
Heather?
at me.
She just missed me. But like I was saying,
No, no, no.
what?
Just hush, Kee-Kee. Dang, wait. So anyway, this is 104.5 Urbana Champagne. This is Conscious Community Connections, where we keep the community connected. Please make sure that you tune in and keep tuning in every single Saturday and Friday, whenever you want to. We have plenty of shows you can view at WRFU dot, I think it's net or dang, I need to do my homework. But anyway, back to the
.net.
show, y'all.
Yeah, but like I was saying, because you read the newspaper every day, you get that link, Snow Sent Out Tiger.
I got you, man. I know what you're talking about, but
And,
it's like
and
what you're
and the
saying.
sad
Something
thing, I was
drastically
talking to I
happened.
was talking to I was talking to that little brother so much.
I
I
know.
was talking to him so much, man. I was just telling him, and you know somebody lying to you. And I just say, man,
Right.
look, man, you can lie to me all you want to, but you can't lie to yourself. Only thing you do is trick yourself. You know what I mean? You got the resources, you got the people who want to help you. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I said,
It didn't
I
happen
was
that
you,
way.
I was you 30 years ago. So you know what I mean? I said, I just want you to
Yep.
break the cycle, brother. And look what happened, man. And that hurt my heart too, man. When I read that, man, it hurt my heart.
Hurt mine too. It took a lot of energy out of me.
Me
You
too,
know,
man.
I understand it, man. It took. I told it take a lot of energy out of you because we put a lot of energy into these guys, and when we see something like that, we take it very personal. So I just shut down all day. I don't even want to be bothered all day. But that's it. Then it remind me of the fight that we in, and this is a long term fight. So
It's
I
it's it's
guess 20
it's,
years
it's a
later,
long. You gotta be long winded.
But that's the thing, though. Like, you're right, though. It takes something drastic to create a paradigm shift in somebody to where they want to change their mindset to make a change. The only thing is that people usually don't change unless they really, really want to, because they can have that wake up call and still not act on it, you know? And,
Yeah.
then that's something that maybe we need to look at and say, are we working too hard for this person? Are they meeting us in the middle? We doing too much of the work? Because they gotta do it.
Well,
They gotta do it. If
well,
they if
it goes back to the program. We got to go back to see. You got to understand again structural racism. How this thing is programming and keeping this cycle going. Yes, I am going. It is an individual has to take responsibility. It is a part of that. There is a part of that. But bad habits are hard to break. Have you ever
Mhm.
heard people would choose a familiar hell over a strange heaven?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's right. So now you asking this individual all of a sudden to just listen to you, and what he does, like in the hood, even when we was down there on the low end, it worked. It was only 20% effective. It wasn't something that brought in a bunch of money, but it worked. It was able to survive off of it. Just like you'll
Mhm.
see families surviving off of welfare and stuff. It's not that they don't want to change. They have to be kind of coaxed and taught another way and reassured because what they're doing right now works. See, this is how this thing works. This again is how structural race. This is what makes it so dangerous is because you don't know you got programmed. You don't understand the program, and it's the program that's going on in these areas. These what they call them high hope areas. I'm gonna use what Maurice and them call it high hope areas instead of we're gonna call it economically depressed areas. There's some program going on there, and it's not gonna hit everybody. Because you'll get individuals say, "Well, I'm a doctor and I live there." Like them 5 doctors that made it out, all of my dentists, yeah, they made it out. But we talking about 80%. Now, we're not talking about the 10% or the 5% that make it out. Why isn't it 80% making it out and 5 to 10% being left in there? That's how you know something is broke. It's broke. You only getting 5 to 10% getting out, but 80 to 90% is stuck. It's broke.
Mhm.
If it was fixed, it'd be 80, 90% getting out and maybe 5 to 10% getting stuck if the system worked. But the fact that it's not working, that's why you have a high number. Again, nothing is 100%. But if
Maybe
you
it is
got eighty
working.
percent, it's
Maybe
working. It's
that's
working. And it's keeping.
maybe it is working, and maybe that's the way it's was built and the way
No,
it's supposed
but
to work.
no. See what it is when it start working, they get to pushing more negativity. Like they
Right.
like look at the 90s and the early 2000s. They start opening all them boys to men schools and stuff like that. They
Mhm.
start pushing
Uh-huh.
pimping. Pimping was they had pimping, like pimping was glorified. They push all these gangster rap up to the forefront. So I'm saying, so they
Oh,
start
that's the
pushing
whole
that.
thing.
They start pushing the
Right.
negativity to the youth once they see they got something working. So it's always when you get an answer to one question, they're gonna give you another question. So you gotta be prepared. You gotta think like they
Right.
think. You gotta think 5 steps ahead.
Hmm.
Yep.
Hmm.
Well, and that's part of it too, because entertainment is part of it. Dr. Francis Cress Wilson said 8 areas of human activity, entertainment is one of them. It's control. So, law, policy, education, entertainment, and we get the young man that we lost today. We lost 2 young men. We actually lost 3. One dead, 2 in the jail. Now we lost 3 resources. That's 3.
One got out though. One of them got out.
Well, still,
One
that's
got
a
out the other
resource
day.
gone.
Yeah, I know, and it's sad. It's sad though. Like
Yep.
I even try
Brain
to,
power.
I even try to push it like a scare tactic. Like, you know what I mean?
See,
I can't tell
scare
you
tactics
not what
don't
to
work.
do. Huh?
Scare tactics don't work, man.
I know,
We gotta.
but no, but
Yeah,
I pushed the reality scare tactic though. I was like, look, man, you got two choices. I said, this is what's gonna happen to you. You're a burden on your family no matter what. If you get caught and go to jail, your family gotta take care of you. They worry about you. You get killed
that's
on
right.
these streets, you ain't got a dime, you ain't got nothing in your pocket. Now they gotta do GoFundMe on Facebook or whatever and try to bury you. So you a burden no matter what decisions you're making. And so you need to try to make a better decision. If you can put the energy into all that negativity, you can put the energy into positivity and grow. But what it is, we so used to that we're not even used to it. We want that instant gratification by looking at people outside the box. But you don't understand the people that got that money, they actually work hard for it. They put in work
That's
for it.
right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
you got the Jordans, you got LeBron. They put in work for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what they wanted to do. So you actually, but a lot of us don't want to put that work in, man. And just I was like that. That's why I say us. I was like that, man. I was like, man, I ain't finna be working no dang on job. Man, I can do this and do that. Look at me now, I'm working a job at 45. Like I say, sometimes it just takes something drastic to happen to a brother for us to wake up. Then we got too many resources out here for us not to understand what's going on now, man. You got a lot of positive people out here preaching it. You know, you gotta listen to the David Banners, the Ice Cube, and stuff like that, man. But they
Yeah.
don't never push that conscious rap, man. They push that gangster
Nah,
rap. You they don't never push that because it's been going since
man, they ain't
Public
even pushing.
Enemy.
Right. Right. Exactly. They pushing some other weird stuff now, man. They pushing drill and this other sick stuff, man. So
Hey, man,
yeah,
you
we
need to watch
gotta
David
listen.
Chappelle when he was talking to Dude, and he compared the industry to Horror Son. You ever read that book Horror Son by Donna Goins?
No.
Oh man, you gotta read that. But he compared the industry how Horson was bringing in his tricks, his bottom broads, and stuff like that, and how you would get them to do certain work. And he put that in the industry, and the way he was saying the industry doing certain things is just like it. I don't want to mess with how you say it. I think everybody should Google that. Why
Okay.
David Chappelle, the reason why he turned down $50 million, he break it down to you, man. It's cold, man. When you listen to how you say it, you be like, dang, that's deep. Yeah, that's another thing. I should
Okay.
go Google that David Chappelle episode in the room in the boardroom. I'm talking to that one dude. It's cold, man. It's a cold game, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well.
I think the industry, like the entertainment industry, and specifically like the music industry, like I said, I think it's strategic. I mean, things don't become popular, things don't become mainstream until we have white culture saying that it's good to go. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So that's probably the reason why we're not, conscious rap isn't as popular. I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know, and I'm not saying that there aren't white people that listen to conscious rap. I don't know any. I don't know any, but I do know some white people that listen to that trap music though all day long.
You do too. All day long. You got let's throw the buck on somebody else. That's more appealing. That's more appealing. It's like you said, a familiar hell is better than undestined future. You know what I'm saying?
But why is trap music more appealing to white culture?
Because
Why?
because it's like they try to
Because
put themselves in the struggle. Like they can
maybe,
listen.
or because it perpetuates some type of stereotype that they're used to, and
Oh
maybe
yeah, that's most definitely.
yeah.
That's
Well,
most definitely.
Here's a question. Why is blues popular to them? You know, blues was created, some music, that came from us, but it's more popular with them as well because I guess it's safe to look in on something and not be a part of it. It's almost like looking in at a fish tank, but you're not there. I think that's what part of the attraction. I don't know. I don't listen to trap music. It's not my thing.
I do.
But yeah, it's not. It's really not. It's not my thing. I've come over to Heather house and learned a different trap song.
I
Don't
You
like
even
know?
trap
try
music. I
it.
do. I do. I
Like,
listen to it. I
listen,
do a little
I
bit. A
listen to
little,
everything. She's my love.
little.
You listen to a lot. She probably got something going on right now in the
TYgar,
background.
don't even try. I like Kevin Gates, I
Yeah.
don't
But
deal with some of those younger guys, but the old ones, yeah, I could deal
Mm-hmm.
with. you know, 2
Mhm.
Chains and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, trap
But the
music.
Okay.
industry, but
Yep.
the industry is pushing. The industry is controlled by not those guys. Let's face it. The
Right.
guys you see right now who rapping, they got the average rapper has a 5 year, if 3 to 5 year run. That's it. But the ones who are in control have been there since part of the 90s, right? Late 90s or something. And you don't know who that is. Now, who is that behind the scenes that's pushing the button? See, this goes back to, again, structural racism. It goes
We
back to
know
that institutional
for
racism.
sure. For
You know,
sure.
yeah,
For
these
sure.
guys looking
And
at
then even
these.
even with that being said, we know for sure that back in the day or whenever you were growing up, you had mom to tell you stop eating that sugar. And you like, why? I love sugar. And she's like, no, don't eat that sugar. So all these years, the the other culture has said, no, don't listen to that. Don't like them. Don't do this. Don't do that. And they're like, why? I I love sugar. Why? I love brown sugar. Why? Why not? It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It looks good. I like it. It gives me what I need, that soul. You know what I'm saying? It gives me meaning, all of those things. So, yes,
Well, you
now
went deep. Do
a
you
lot of
mean
what is it? Gen Z? Gen
ginseng?
Z right now is just taking over. They are like really
Ginseng? You talking about ginseng?
no, Gen Z, the Generation Z, the ones
Oh,
that are tearing things up and don't want to hear what the old folks got to say. Them the ones that are shooting to kill and ready to die for any and everything, and they're standing on it right now.
I
That's
can't agree with you.
Gen Z.
I can't agree
They're
with you
not
on that
going
one.
through most of the stuff that's going on, like traditional wise.
I can't agree with you on that. It's like oh they fault because you got the older generation too. You got some older generations don't even try to talk to this younger generation. They talk to them and talk at them, but won't listen to them. That's the main thing. When you're doing somebody young, you got to think about put yourself in the shoes when people trying to talk to you. You ain't want to hear that because they were talking at you. They didn't want to hear. They didn't want to hear your side of the story. You know what I'm saying? But everybody got a story to tell. So the younger generation, they like they know it all, and then the older generation like, well, I ain't gonna mess with because they know it all.
No, my point was that hey, the reason why they like certain things is
Oh,
because
okay.
mom said don't do
Don't
this.
do it.
Mom
Yeah,
said
okay.
don't like that person. Mom said, but they are a great person. They're a great culture. Just whatever it is, like I want my hair like that. You know that type of thing. Like
Yeah, all these weirdos getting that
you're
red
seeing
and yellow hair,
a lot.
pink, purple.
Yes, we're seeing a lot of the Generation Z really include and try to include and embrace the hip hop culture, the rap culture, the black culture, the African American culture, like period. That's why it's gonna be a boom real soon. TYgar told me this is a shift going on right now, and it's gonna be a generational wealth shift. It's coming. Period. It's coming. It is.
Change gonna come.
Yep.
It's coming because we starting to understand the different facts, the different factors of racism. We're getting more groups waking up younger and younger. You know, that's why we having this discussion today, because as they wake up and get how the system works, now there's also a shift that's going to have to come because you're not, you don't have those same jobs that's there, same resources. They need less of you. So the wake up has to happen so fast. We got to go. Shift has to come. We just
I'm
need to
ready.
understand all parts of the thing. That's all. And that's
I'm
that's the
ready.
difficult part. But are you ready to read the disclaimer again? Pop up.
How long the show?
No,
How
you
long y'all
read
been on? How long y'all been
I
on?
think it's time.
an
It's
hour and
time.
28 minutes. Hour
Huh?
almost an hour
Y'all
and
Yeah,
30
going?
minutes.
she gonna close out. Go ahead, do your thing.
Whatever, TYgar. What off with your head, okay? Whatever, TYgar. You ain't say nothing about Kee-Kee popping in and out.
My phone messing up. And I'm at work.
No,
That
man.
was his phone. You was there.
I was trying.
You
I
were
was
there.
trying to tell Alicia don't put me in. Put me in the show. I want to go from the background
Oh, look
and
at
listen.
you. You
Mike,
sound
I'm at
like
work.
Tiger.
No,
Y'all both
no,
like
I'm talking about
you
now. I'm talking
need
about
to
now.
stop
I'm at
both of this
work.
off, like for
I'm at
real.
work. My phone kept coming on. No, I'm at work. I gotta pay bills. You gonna pay my bills? Huh?
Key, don't do
I
that.
ask you a question.
Don't even do it. Okay.
Y'all gonna pay my bills?
Don't do that.
I
I
take
got the
care.
case for you. What are you talking about?
You got what for me?
The case? Now that was
Yeah,
good enough.
no, you my sweetheart.
I'm gonna cut
Go
you.
ahead, read the disclaimer.
Too.
Go ahead, read the disclaimer. Go ahead, let's
All
do it.
right.
It's time.
This is Conscious Community Connections, where we keep the community connected. This is WRFU 104.5 Urbana Champaign. Views expressed are those of the speakers and are not intended to represent WRFU, UC, IMC, or Urbana Socialist Forum. All
Man,
right.
that girl know that on the top of her head.
You do.
She is awesome.
I'm gonna get you.
Big old head. She better use
What?
it.
Kee-Kee, you too.
So what y'all was talking about in the beginning? I missed it. The show.
Well, you
We
can
still
go
going?
back
The
and
show
you
is
can watch
over
the
with.
recording and you can
Uh,
get that.
Thank
Here
Oh,
you,
go another
Alicia.
one.
oh,
Here go
Yeah.
oh.
another. Here go another big head one over there. That's talking.
Look,
Oh,
I
yeah.
know that my head is big, but you don't need to reference its size all the time, okay? You don't need to do that. You
Sensitivity.
Check. Whatever.
Y'all, y'all did a good show. Y'all on Facebook too?
Yes.
Mhm.
We
Oh,
live right now.
are we still live?
Yes.
Okay, what y'all want to talk about?
Nothing else.
Mhm.
Oh, it's over with?
This
Yep,
was the
it's
wrap up
over.
for the racism.
What y'all should have hit? What y'all should have hit on though, for real? And Tag, I don't know if you did. If you watch that Malcolm X tape,
Oh my
if you
God.
watch that, if you watch that Malcolm X, he hit a great point on how you get the Jews, how the Jews got that land in the middle of all the Arabs and this and that, and why we couldn't get our own reparation land in America. Why they won't do that?
That'll be
Thank
next time.
thank you.
Oh, oh, that's coming up. Oh, we gonna hit on that next time, brother. We gonna hit on that. We gonna get on all that. Yeah, so be on here with that one.
So
Trust
what?
me.
Yeah,
We gonna
2 more
definitely hit on
I'm
that.
weeks?
tracking on. I'm tracking on. I'll be at work. I'll be catching me working on the car. Be on the car when y'all start.
Okay. In 2 more
Yeah.
weeks, Alicia?
Yeah, we come back in 2 more weeks. Do it again.
Okay.
All
She get
right.
her she get her mojo. Look at her.
I'm about to
Hey,
click off. I'm about to just remove you right now.
well,
Be quiet.
see,
Bye.
Thank you, Alicia. Woo! Wait, thank you. He's about to be woo! Oh my God. It's a wrap. Yep. Bye-bye. I don't even want to hear it.
I will see y'all later, okay? Y'all have a good night. All right. We'll come back in 2 weeks. Okay. Bye.
I'll go.